position.
Hey. Yeah. Give MSR.
Capture the objectives. Securing A. Enemy has C. Quick draw. Alpha secure. Avenger. Enemy has Bravo. Extreme conditioning. Specialist bonus achieved.
Changing mag!
Securing Bravo.
Target neutralized!
Bravo secure. Enemy UAV identified.
Enemy down!
We lost A! Internally secure. Losing C! We've taken the lead. Losing C! Losing B!
Here, help you, bro.
Losing Charlie! Losing C! We lost Bravo! Counter UAV up. They're blind.
Come on.
Moab ready for your goal. Friendly Moab incoming. UAV online.
Already got a tactical bomb. He's on our team, bro. That's just the one thing I don't like about tactical bomb. It changes like what the whole level looks like.
Quick draw. Securing Bravo. All positions locked down. Hold your positions.
Go to A.
Losing Bravo!
Yeah.
We Enemy UAV identified. Alpha secure.
Reloading!
Watcher 6. Enemy UAV spotted. Watcher 6. Enemy UAV spotted. Holding C! Enemy UAV identified. Extreme conditioning. We lost C! Securing B. Bravo secure. Special response achieved. Securing Charlie.
He's down!
Losing Alpha! Securing Charlie. We lost A! Charlie secure. Quick draw.
There's one thing. Yeah, push out crack this morning.
Securing Alpha.
Let's get that.
Scavenger.
Right now.
Watcher 6. Enemy UAV spotted. Securing A.
Throwing stun grenade! Enemy down! Go down! Reloading!
Friendly as Juggernaut. Scavenger. Losing Charlie! Securing Alpha. We lost C! Care package on the way. Alpha secure. Extreme conditioning. Friendly Predator missile inbound. UAV online.
He's down!
Guys over there.
Scavenger. Assignment accomplished. Good work.